And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Morning Coffee with myself and Robert Watson. It is Wednesday. We are going through the book, R is Victorious. This is What Makes Life Better. You need to go check this out and get it on Amazon. And we are halfway through it. We call them a little bit of an essay situation, right? It's kind of what they are. They're just little essays about things that make life better for you. If you can go to the podcast right now is under Shaping Success with Wes Tankersley. Downloads are down on the audio portion of it, which is kind of weird because Buzzsprout, the platform that I use to upload everything, is rebranded. So please make sure that you go to wherever you listen to podcasts, hit subscribe, go to YouTube, subscribe. That link is in my bio. Robert and I are doing this as a co-host thing now for a while. I've been doing it on my own for about 5 years, so we're just kind of making a shift. We're slowly, very slowly working on trying to decide. We kind of have a name, but we need to get some stuff together. So that's what we're working on. But right now it's going to be on the network under, we're just going to call it Morning Coffee for now. I'm trying to move and deviate away from Shaping Success, kind of sort of rebrand a little bit. But yeah. Robert, what's going on this morning?
Well, it's kind of one of those beautiful days. This is about passion and purpose, which is so amazing, such a great topic. And as you read in the chapter, there's very little research on it. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly enough, people always talking about follow your passion, all that kind of stuff. And the reality is there's like one major researcher in Canada who does all the work on passion. And really, the reason they do it is because they're worried about the other side of passion, which is the dark side, where it becomes obsession, right? But I saw a quote, which is something I put up on my computer, which is if you want to be the 1%, you have to do what the 99% are not willing to do. And So when we talk about passion and purpose, it is realizing that nothing's really going to be for free. We got to be completely motivated, and truthfully, completely motivated every day. And that's really difficult, right? To get up every single solitary day and make a small effort, small piece of growth, and we have to remember that life responds to effort. Mm-hmm. And as much as people want to be master manifestors and all that kind of stuff, the manifesting part is like sowing a seed. You got to sow the seed to reap the harvest. And the reality is a lot of times people aren't willing to sow the seed. So if you want to be the 1%, you just have to do what the 99% are not willing to do.
As Nikki says in the chat on YouTube, do the hard shit. That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, that's really true. I hate to go back to sports, but this is a Tom Brady-ism that I didn't know. So he would have a game, good game, bad game, and he would be very critical of himself. But the weird part was on the plane ride back, he would be watching the games of the team he's going to play next week.
Yep. Already going.
In other words, he had already put the win or loss behind him and was already focused on the next thing. And I was explaining to a friend, I said, you don't understand playing quarterback. You have to have a very short memory.
Right.
Okay. Memory for good things, memory for bad things. In other words, the reason being is you need to be present. You need to see exactly what the defense is offering you. You need to look at it. And if you've got a hard throw, you got a hard throw. It doesn't matter that hard throw the last two times got broken up or picked off or threw a touchdown. It doesn't matter. This one's unique. This opportunity is different. And this is your opportunity to do something unique and special in this moment. And I think that's probably one of the things that people are trying to figure out in passion is how to do, as Nikki said, the hard shit.
Yep. You got to do the hard shit. Sometimes that takes a little bit of work to make that happen. And I think, like I watch myself every single day, TikTok, for instance, right? Like we're live on TikTok right now. We're live on all these different places, but TikTok is one of those areas where I've seen the most growth. And I noticed, and you probably noticed this as well, that I haven't been posting as much there. Like I haven't I'm making a post a day, but it's usually either like this day in history or not this day in history, this on this day, like I'm making sure that I'm posting every single day. But I noticed last night when I made a couple posts that I got a few more followers and I got more people paying attention. And it really, that's what it is. Like, have I been doing the work? Have I been putting in the effort to grow that following that I used to? And I haven't really, because it's one of those deals. Like, you get busy in time, you get uninspired, you don't have a lot to say. How many times can you say the same thing over and over again? But the reality is that hard shit, those things that you have to do, you have to continue to do them. And I'm working on them in myself, but am I telling people that I'm doing that as much as I used to? And I need to get back to that. I need to work on that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's also, again, I was having this discussion with a friend about winning, because, the idea of passion is that ultimately we want to win. And I said, what you're going to find out in life about winning is it's rather disappointing.
Yeah.
And she just kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? I said, well, what happens is you build up expectations about what the win looks like. And the reality is it's the process that you love. The winning's kind of just scorekeeping at the end.
Right.
Because what happens is you let's say you're going for a master's degree, which I just completed in May. Walking across that stage was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It just was. It was like, okay, thank you. That's nice. Can I have my certificate? Cool. I'm out of here. What it was about was, at the last couple months of the degree, I was really relishing it. I was going to class and I was just experiencing it because I knew it was almost over.
Right.
And it was the process that I really loved. And the certificate and the pageantry, I just kind of shrugged, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Right. And that's a hard part about winning, because even because my friend had just went through something, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, got there, won, did really well, and then had this drop the next day. And I said, the drop the next day is real simple. What that is your emotions, right? You're real high up here, and your emotions go all the way down here, and you're kind of in a trough, almost a little bit depressed.
Right.
Because to be honest with you, the win doesn't really feel like you think it should, because you put so much into it. So you really, really have to fall in love with the process. So if you're anxious or all that kind of stuff, think about what you're doing to the process. You're actually torturing yourself, instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to find a way to enjoy this. That's, you know the running story, of course. I start running every morning because I hate it.
Right.
Right. And so, but that way I learned to love it, right? I learned to love the process. And so now it's, you get up in the morning and it's still not, come on, man, it's hard to roll out of bed and go get motivated to sweat your, off. And it's hard. But here's the point. It's like Nikki said, it's doing hard shit, right?
Yeah. Definitely. And I mean, that's the thing. You've got to realize that it's like you were talking about Brady, right? You're talking about how he's like won the game, headed into the next one, already studying the next one on the way back because he's on to the next one, having that short memory. And you watch like these baseball players. I always go back to baseball because you have to have the shortest memory, I feel like, in baseball, like sports.
Yeah.
You have to have that short memory because you could be at bat 4 times. And if you struck out the first time and you're like, oh, this guy's got my number, what's going to happen? Here you go again. It may take you 2 at bats to figure it out. It may take you saw what happened in the first at bat, what he did to you, and he's going to work you the same way. But how did you make that adjustment? And we have to do that in life. But again, you hit a home run in that first at bat, you have to be short-lived because that guy has now done more homework on you and going back to it. And so it is kind of anticlimactic. You have to realize, just that when I won a state championship in high school football, the next thing I wanted to do was get back there and do it again, right? It's you're never satisfied. And I think people have a hard time with that because you want to be satisfied, right? But sometimes those people who are not those people who win over and over again are those people who are never satisfied. They're okay. They're happy with what their performance was, but they're not willing to be complacent with the end result. And
they're extremely passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
I was reminded of a baseball story. So I was playing in pony leagues, and there was this kid who materially looked a bit older than us. And he threw really hard and really fast. And normally he would have somewhere between, 10 and 15 strikeouts a game.
Yeah.
So he was a beast to deal with, right? So it was my first at bat, and I was batting third. And so he struck out the 2, made him look bad, the first 2 in front of me. So I'm expecting, 90-mile-an-hour fastball. This is pony league, Jesus. And he's throwing close to 90.
Yep.
So what he does is, instead of doing what you think he does, he tries to throw a splitter
Mm-hmm.
and screws it up and hangs it so it looks this big, looks like a softball coming to me, right?
Right.
And I'm staring at it like it was going the wrong speed, all that kind of stuff. I hit it off the top of the fence, right? And I got to second base, and you could see the look on his face like, oh, you're never going to see that again.
Yeah.
You just embarrassed me. You are never going to see that again.
Yep.
And it was right. The next two at bats, he was throwing smoke.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about Tim Lincecum, who used to, and obviously there's no, I'm a Giants fan. Tim Lincecum used to play for the Giants, and they called him the Freak because he just was this little short dude that could throw over 100 miles an hour. But his best pitch wasn't that I threw over 100 miles an hour. His best pitch was, I threw that to you twice. Now I'm going to throw you this changeup that's 80, and you're going to look stupid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Fastball, fastball, changeup, boom, you're done.
Yeah, very true. So the concept behind passion is it's about forming and becoming that 10,000 hours till you get to an expert. What does it take to become an expert, right? Repetition. And unfortunately, it's the nasty grind stuff that people don't fall in love with, that it really does make you an expert. It's doing things over and over again, and you're just getting there. And you have to deal with all the changes that come. Again, doesn't matter what sports star you talk to, they'll tell you, I didn't win the games that I necessarily should have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I won games that I should not have won. And they'll tell you straight up, this game, we played better than them in every facet of the game. And at the end, they made this spectacular play and beat us.
Yep.
And we were hard. And then this other game, we played like crap and we managed to pull it out.
Yeah.
It's life, but you have to have a passion for it.
Having that passion, and I think is one of the other things, is to talk about the other end of that, like being able to deal with the fact that you're going to fail. Like, and we'll take this out of the context of sports, because that's what we talk about a lot, and in general life. Like, I am a salesperson, so like every single day I go in to these opportunities that I have. So I have 4 to 5 opportunities a day to make a sale, to make some money, to sell someone something, right, in life. And my hope is that I am over 60% closing. So that means that I want to get, the majority of those appointments done in that day and collect money. So I have to be willing to understand that 60% is still failure. There's still failure there. There are people that I'm not going to sell it to. And I have to decide work on how am I going to create that situation. And we get curveballs all the time. Someone wants a certain product. Someone wants it a certain way, but their budget doesn't align with what the cost of something is, or a product changes. And so like we pick out a color, and that color doesn't fit their window because their window's too big and it doesn't come in that size. There are a lot of things that can play into life that you have to figure out how to punt. You have to figure out how to re-engineer the situation so that you can be successful. And getting to that 10,000 hours, there's a lot of failure.
Oh my gosh, yes. The funniest thing is, I've been doing these quotes every morning, right?
Yep.
And so I've been doing these quotes. I'm over 1,000 of them. So you get a quote and you go, oh my God, that's the best quote ever, right? And it's going to really move people. Nah, it's not what works. And then I'll say something really, just kind of trite, and 3 or 4 people will go, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed to hear today.
Yep.
I'm like, sometimes the idea of what works and doesn't work in any situation is our perspective is often skewed, right?
Mm-hmm.
We think we know what it will take, and we're always surprised. I'm always surprised, right? But you show up, you put in the best effort you can, you sow the best seed you can, and you hope you harvest.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then if there's nothing there to harvest, and if you're very passionate about it, you're going to find a way to sow those seeds a different way to be successful, so that you do get that harvest.
And I think the biggest struggle that all of us make is we got to, it's back to process again. Got to love the process. because the end result really isn't necessarily in our hands.
Yep.
Right? A lot of things can happen, especially, they always talk about that in team sports. I can play the best game, but I'm in a football field, I'm one of 11, right?
Yeah.
On one side of the ball. And guess what? I don't play defense. So it's not like I, can do everything. Nobody can. So it is very hard with team sports. And most of life is a team sport, right? Like, you're married. Your marriage is not a function of what you put in.
Right.
It's a function of what y'all put in,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you decide not to show up for a day, your wife shows up, she carries the load, right?
Yep.
Doesn't necessarily make her happy, but it's a team sport. You can have a good day, she has a bad day. That's the way it goes.
Yep. It's funny, Nikki's talking about social media and you talking about like those videos that you put out and me putting out videos and all that stuff. We're talking about real life stuff here. And a lot of people really want to go to social media to escape. Some people are looking for inspiration. Some people are looking for a lot of things. I posted a TikTok yesterday after I was listening to my friend Brad Dalton give his podcast, and he's going through letters about things, and he was talking about kindness. And I was starting to think, he texted me the other day out of nowhere. Said, I hope you're doing good. Just kind of checking on me, seeing, how things were. And I'm like, I want to do a video about this guy. I want people to find him. I want those people who are inspired, who need that, but they'll show up. They'll see it when they need to see it. But what she just typed in the chat was like spending time making TikTok videos to get 20 views and a fart joke gets over 1K. Like, I mean, those are the things that people are looking for, and you never know what's going to happen and what will drive that. I mean, I have a video that it's a repost from 2 years ago. I got 1.4 million K views of a guy just talking about how there's no such thing as leftover bacon because a guy was asking about resealable packages on bacon. And it's like, this is insane that we're trying to push something out and you don't get as many views as that, but that's just how life is. What are you going to do to get to that point where your video, where your effort meets the expectation of what you're looking for?
Yeah, and you don't know. And it was funny because I had this class this last semester that I wasn't doing very well in. Okay. And I managed to pull my grade up and I kept working and working. And to be honest with you, I really didn't know what this professor wanted most of the time, but I just kept pushing and I kept pushing. Well, at the end, right, I had like an 88 or an 89 average and I had resigned myself. I have a B, right? And I mean, I know that sounds terrible, but he had told us at the front end of the semester, I'm going to curve the entire class based upon what I want. And so I was like, and so of course I got an A because he gave the class the curve. I forgot all about the curve, right? And I just put the best effort that I could in. And literally I had resigned myself to, I'm not going to get a 4.0. This is a 3.95 or whatever the hell it is, right? And I forgot about the curve. I had put my best effort in, and there was just something else that was going to change the game. And it was funny because my undergrad, I had got a 92.6 in the class, and I got a A minus.
Yeah.
Didn't curve it up. Right. And so I had a 3.97 grade point average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is,
hey,
it sucks. It's like good. Here's the thing though. Like that's good. Right. But
Yeah.
here we are complaining about this because we're looking for a perfect effort. And I think that's a good reminder that life is never perfect. There is never.
Oh no.
You may want it to be, but it never happens that way.
And I catch myself like everybody else trying to control the results.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to, and I do it all the time, right? I'll catch myself and I'll go, listen, dummy, that's a result. You control the process. You don't control the results. Control the process. Control what you put in. Don't worry about what comes out.
Yep.
That's not somebody else's problem. And let the cards fall where they may. And that's really hard, but that's back to the passion. I'm doing this process because I love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Control the controllables because you can't control anything else. I mean, like if you are very passionate about your writing and they want you to handwrite it and your handwriting's not very good, you either practice more, but there's a point where you're never going to make it perfect strokes exactly like the person wants it, and it's never going to look the same? Or what if you have a disability where maybe you have Parkinson's and you shake and you can't write correctly, but you're doing the best that you can. So you can control the effort that you put into it, but you cannot control the outcome.
That's it. But you still have to remind yourself, because we are the brain is actually, and I heard this, is an expectation machine.
Yep.
Right? It literally is always projecting. Why? Well, it's a safety mechanism for us, right? Mm-hmm. It's how we protect ourselves in fight or flight. Is our brain is projecting the next problem, the next situation, how to get the next food, how to have shelter. That's why it's an expectation machine. Problem is that expectation machine turns on us, right? By giving us, and we project into the future what something's looking like, and that's where the problem is. Stay in the process. Stay present.
You got to be there every single day.
What was the story? There's a reason why the windshield's so much larger than the rearview mirror.
Yeah, because you're moving forward.
That's right.
You're moving forward. You got to be able to see what's in front of you, but you do sometimes have to look in the back and see what the hell's chasing you.
Right, you do. But think about it in order of magnitude, right? Yeah. A lot bigger front windshield for a reason, because your future is a lot more is coming at you than your past.
Yep. Well, what a great topic. Find that passion. I wanted to thank everyone for hanging out with us today. Thank our sponsor, Magic Mind. If you want to go over to Magic Mind at https:/magicmind.com/WesT20, you can use WesT20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase with that code, or get 48% off your subscription. I have the subscription, which is 30 bottles, and trying to take that every single day. They also have a nice sleep formula coming out, which I have to tell you, this is good. The thing that I like about Magic Mind is that it actually helps me stay focused throughout the day without feeling that jittery crash, like a Red Bull does, or like 10, 20 cups of coffee. I don't drink that many. I do drink at least 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, but you can drink it with your coffee and not have that crash. So go check that out. And Robert's book is out, RS Victorious. Go get it on Amazon. Go check it out. Let's get this in the screen here. And Robert, we will see you Monday. Monday is it's kind of like our little our BS session where we talk about what's going on. We pick a topic and we kind of go about it. We talked about the debate a little bit on Monday, so go check that episode out. Make sure that you are subscribed wherever you are. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please help us by giving us a review so that we can keep that get out. It's extremely helpful to help other people see that. Subscribe everywhere you can. Any closing thoughts, Robert?
No, this is a wonderful opportunity, especially when you're talking about something like passion, for people to kind of pick it up and reignite. My conversation this morning was excuses make today easy, but they make tomorrow hard.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
We can't live with those excuses. So go out there, stop making the damn excuses, and get to work.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll catch you guys on Monday.
Have a great day.
You too.